On the Hobo road, I roam alone. Stars above that I follow.
Welcome back, my ritual-riddled road scholars, my superstition-slinging sidewalk savants, my habit-hoarding hedge-witch minimalists. Hobo Yeti here from a folded camp chair wedged behind a wind-battered loading dock where the breeze argues with a shopping cart, and I've got one sock drying on a fence like a prayer flag that gave up on religion. Today we're talking about absurd survival rituals, the strange little behaviors you swear don't matter until the one day you skip them and the universe immediately steals your lunch, your morale, and your last good pen. These aren't traditions passed down by elders in robes. These are habits invented at 2 a.m. by a tired brain trying to impose order on chaos with ductless determination. They look silly, they sound pointless, they absolutely work. Because when life gets feral, consistency becomes camouflage, and the brain clings to rhythm like a cat to a screen door in a hurricane. Let's count them down. The weird, the effective, the quietly unhinged ceremonies that keep you upright when everything else leans sideways. And remember, absurdity is just another layer of camouflage out here. 1. The pocket inventory sermon. Every morning or night, you pat your pockets and announce what's inside like you're hosting a weird radio show for lint and receipts. It's not just keys, lighter, or pencil. It's the proof your stuff hasn't joined the witness protection program overnight. This odd little roll call isn't about memory. It's reassurance in a world where things tend to wander off. You miss one item, and panic starts building a tent in your chest before breakfast. It might look bizarre to outsiders, but there's real power in talking to your pants like you're negotiating a hostage release in a universe that steals, misplaces, and forgets, saying, keys here, lighter there, coin warm, dignity missing, actually works. Consistency becomes a secret handshake with your own brain. 2. The deliberate last bite pause. When you're down to that final bite, you stop and honor it. No matter how pathetic the meal, you look at it, you take a breath, you chew like it's the Last Supper, and you're trying to impress someone who's grading you. This isn't self-help, it's survival psychology. It trains your mind to register endings without freaking out or fixating on what you can't have. If you skip this, you're left feeling like you're still hungry, chasing snacks all night, but if you pause, you teach yourself that scarcity isn't a crisis. It's a comma, not a period. Even if it's just a crust or a smushed cracker, giving it a moment says, I survived this meal, now on to the next disaster. 3. The gear placement vow. You don't just drop gear anywhere, everything has a home no matter how ridiculous. Knife always by the right pocket, hat on the same hook, socks folded in the same scruffy pile. Even when you're bone tired, you put stuff back because you know the price of not finding it when you need it. It sounds obsessive, but it's preemptive therapy. You're not organizing for Instagram. You're outsmarting your future, less coherent self. When chaos is the rule, these tiny acts of order become your mental anchor. You can find things in pitch black during storms, or while half delirious from sleep deprivation, because your hands remember what your brain can't. Morning confusion? Not for you. You already bribed tomorrow's chaos by being loyal to routine. 4. The weather insult test. Before you claim a spot, you stand there and loudly disrespect the weather. You call the wind lazy, accuse the rain of being dramatic, taunt the heat for being all show and no stamina. You wait a minute and let the elements react. It's not bravado, it's field research. When you do this, you learn the wind's tricks, where rain sneaks in, or how sun bounces off that one metal pole into your eyeball at 6 a.m. People might think you're losing it, but you're actually gathering intel. It's ridiculous, but in the field, the act of standing and talking to the elements buys you enough time to spot the flaws in your plan, saving you from a midnight tent migration. 5. The end-of-day debrief to nobody. Before sleep, you recap the day out loud like you're leaving a voicemail for the universe. You list what went right, what was a near disaster, and what made you question your sanity. There's nobody listening except the wind and the occasional raccoon, but your brain files everything, tying up emotional loose ends so you don't carry them into tomorrow. It's weird, muttering confessions to nobody, but it actually calms the mental static. Sometimes saying out loud, I only lost one sock, I avoided that cop, and the storm missed me by an inch, is enough to keep regret from setting up camp overnight. When you process your own nonsense, the next morning feels less like a rerun and more like a blank slate. 6. The sock rotation doctrine. You make it a point to never wear the same pair of socks 2 days running, even if they look and smell passable. This isn't just foot care, it's sanity maintenance. Nothing wrecks your mood faster than damp, stiff, or scratchy socks. Rotating them isn't about luxury, it's a little private rebellion against decline. You might not have much control out here, but you've got sock sovereignty. You carefully hang pairs to dry, rotate like you're playing fantasy football, and sometimes even talk to them for luck. The rest of the world may fall apart, but your feet still feel fresh. When you start each day with a clean pair, it's like flipping the finger at entropy. You get to walk with dignity, even if it's just to the next bush. 7. The entrance pause. Whenever you cross into a new space, a nook, an alley, a patch of bushes, you take a breath and freeze, scanning the air like a cat before it jumps on a countertop. You're not expecting an ambush, but you're letting your senses catch up before your body gets committed. The pause recalibrates your awareness. It forces your brain to register new smells, sounds, shadows, or the sense of someone's bad day lingering. It seems silly, like staging a dramatic entrance for nobody, but it keeps you from walking into weird situations. You save yourself from bad vibes and the occasional territorial goose. This tiny pause prevents way more trouble than it costs in time. And out here, that's as close to magic as survival gets. 8. The one-tool touch. Once a day, you pick up your main tool, knife, pen, lighter, and use it with full focus, as if auditioning for a how-to video. No rushing, no fumbling, just precision and care. This isn't performance art. It's to remind yourself that skill survives chaos. Even when everything else feels unpredictable, the feel of a tool used well resets your confidence. It's a weird thing, worshipping a multi-tool, but it restores agency. People who lose their routines start feeling like ghosts. People who maintain one small ritual stay sharp. The rest of the world might forget your name, but you can still split a pencil or fix a strap with one steady hand, and that means you're still you. 9. The sleep boundary statement. Before you crash for the night, you actually say out loud when you'll wake or why you're sleeping now. I'll get up at dawn. I'll rest until the birds yell. I'm sleeping now because today was enough. It sounds childish, but it draws a line under the day. Your brain stops chewing old mistakes because it knows a new chapter starts when you open your eyes. Instead of collapse, rest becomes a choice, even if it's a forced one. Out here, drawing mental lines is the only way to keep today from trespassing on tomorrow. You tell yourself, I survived another day, and this sleep isn't surrender, it's strategy. 10. The morning re-entry line. As soon as you wake up, you repeat a phrase that's only for you, something like, all right, let's do this again. You're not summoning magic, you're marking the border between yesterday's mess and today's maybe. No matter how bad the night was, you announce your continued existence with that single line. The ritual's private, weird, and oddly effective. It tethers you back to the present, keeping your story coherent when your circumstances want to erase the narrative. The world might never know, but you do, and that's enough to start walking. These rituals don't banish hardship or fix the outside world, but they patch the leaks inside you. When the ground refuses to cooperate and life's a cosmic prank, rhythm becomes your flotation device. Absurdity isn't weakness. It's proof you're still adapting, still upright, still rolling your eyes at the gods of chaos. Out here, habits are more than quirks. They're anchors. They're how you tell yourself you're not just a spectator to your own undoing. If you can find a pattern to honor, you can find a reason to keep moving, even if the only audience is the weather and your last dry sock. I hope your road is a good one, and if you're homeless, I hope it doesn't suck for you. And remember, strange habits are just survival wearing a disguise. Take care.